Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, I am showing you Thundurus GX, because I showed you Thundurus GX yesterday. And if I weren't to complete the set and show you this one, well, ladies and gentlemen, I would feel pretty gosh darn sad indeed. It is, of course, coming in the Forces of Nature GX collection, just like Thundurus is. But I don't think this one is as good as Thundurus, a card that I was very high on in my video, and a bunch of people disagreed, and that's all good. Healthy discussion is fun. So starting off with Thundurus then, it's got 180 HP, which as we've said, is not as good as 190 HP that we see in cards like Ultra Necrozma and Buzzwole. And it's got a resistance here to metal, as so many of these lightning Pokemon do, which is alright. I mean, maybe something like Registeel starts seeing a little bit of play. And it's got a retreat cost, and that retreat cost is 2. Which means it's too heavy to use a skateboard, which is actually kind of annoying. Retreat cost of 2 is pretty frustrating when we're going to be in a format where we're not going to have Floatstone, so we're going to be kind of relying on a skateboard. But none of this is that important when you realise that it's weak to fighting. Weakness to fighting at the moment is absolutely terrible, because Buzzwole, especially since the release of Beast Ring, may well be the best Pokemon in the format. And you're weak to it. And the problem is, at 180 HP, Buzzwole can hit that for 1 energy. You see, they do 30 for 1 energy, then you add a Diancie Prism Star, and then you're doing 50, then you add a Choice Band, and you're doing 80. So if you have a strong energy here, then you're doing 30, 50 for the strong energy, 70 for Diancie, 100 for a Choice Band, 1-hit KO on a 2-prize GX for a single energy. That's a little bit upsetting. They could even use Beast Energy and Choice Band here, and not even have to get Diancie Prism Star down. So that's bad. Now, that's not to say that you cannot play a fighting weak Pokemon at the moment. Being weak to fighting isn't a huge problem in and of itself. We said when Garbodor was running around and everything was amazing, oh, you can't play a Pokemon that's weak to Psychic. Nope. Cannot afford to have a Psychic weakness, and now Buzzwole's the best card in the format. Having fighting weakness is bad. There's no doubt about that. But if the card is good enough, you can play it anyway. Oh yeah, and as a side note, it's a lightning Pokemon, which means you are hitting weakness against Ho-Oh, which is quite nice, but most of the best water Pokemon, like Lapras, aren't even weak to lightning anymore. But as always, it is the attacks, and the card was leaked by PokeBeach, but we don't need any translation here. No, ladies and gentlemen, because it's in English, and I savour these cards because we don't get many of them that are leaked for the first time in English. So, first attack, 1 lightning energy, search your deck for a lightning energy, attach it to this Pokemon and shuffle your deck. Now this is one of those attacks that comes around fairly often that attaches energy to the Pokemon itself. And look, attaching from the deck rather than the discard pile is very, very nice and far more reliable. But I don't like these kind of attacks, because something like Gardevoir is going to come along, and the problem is here that you're accelerating the energy and then you're staying in the active and just letting your opponent have the first hit. You're just letting your opponent hit you while you've got that energy on. And if you're against something like a Gardevoir, you're essentially giving them an extra 30 damage right off the bat. This is not a good thing. I don't like it. And you might be thinking, alright Ross, good point, but come on. People aren't really playing Gardevoir at the moment. It's not that popular. Well, no. But people are playing Tapu Lele, which means instead of hitting you for 60, Tapu Lele will hit you for 80. Attacks like this are fine in an emergency, but it's not something to rely on. You want to accelerate energy on the bench and then bring it active. The main attack here, 3 lightning energy, 140 damage. The numbers here aren't too bad. It actually works quite nicely, because I just mentioned Tapu Lele and how everybody's playing it. Well, you whack a Choice Band on here, you're hitting 170, that's a 1-hit KO on a Tapu Lele. If you then play a Professor Kukui, you're up to 190, so stuff like the aforementioned Buzzwole and Ultra Necrozma, that we've already said are the best Pokemon in the format, they're going down. Now, Choice Band Kukui in a single turn is not the easiest thing to get rolling, and that's a little bit sad. But it's possible here. And maybe in the future we get a damage modifier for lightning Pokemon. We've got stuff like Lurantis for grass Pokemon, and we've got Diancie Prism Star for fighting Pokemon. If we ever get one for lightning Pokemon, this could push it into the realm of, yay, that's how much damage we need to do. If you can hit for 190 at the moment, you're going to be in a good position. Because even with the weakness to fighting, alright, you're going to get one hit KO'd by a Buzzwole. But if you can take a nice 2-prize knockout, does it really matter if your opponent then knocks you out? If you've done what you wanted to do, if you've achieved what you wanted to achieve, if you've got that knockout you were jonesing for, and you've taken 2 prizes, and then your opponent's like, now I'm going to take 2 prizes, cool. You've already done what you wanted to do, and that's the key here. But this is for free energy. And free energy is a lot, ladies and gentlemen. Probably more than we want to pay. Now, the good news is we do have access to Max Elixir, which will accelerate the energy nice and quickly, so that's a good thing. And you could always use something like Vikavolt, although that is a little bit awkward. And you could always use Electrode. I say always, I clearly mean just before the rotation. So you can get this going quite easily. I mean, we've got Raikou from Shining Legends. It's not a great typing lightning at the moment. But the one thing it does have going for it is there's quite a few ways to accelerate energy. So maybe the attack cost isn't that bad, but it's still a little awkward because, well, Vikavolt's a stage 2, and Electrode gives up a prize, and Raikou's got to attack from the active while accelerating energy to the bench. And I know you're not active then, but something like a Guzma can take you out. If this did, say, 170, and then you could be with a choice band hitting 200 and getting everything up to stuff like Lycanroc and Sylveon, then I would be much more in favour. But all the negatives here are starting to add up. The attack cost is a little bit awkward. It doesn't quite do enough damage. The weakness is pretty upsetting. And actually, it builds and builds and builds here. And then we've got the GX attack. Flip 4 coins. This attack does 100 damage for each heads that you flip. That's a powerful attack. Now, the good news is here, you should be averaging 2 heads, which means you do 200 damage, which gets those aforementioned Pokemon like Lycanroc straight away. With a choice band, you're then up to 130, and stuff like Greninja GX and Gardevoir are going down. This is a good amount of damage. You flip 3 heads, you're hitting 300, and that's basically one hit KOing anything. And if you flip 4 heads, it's a little bit needless. But sometimes you're going to flip 3 heads. Okay, it's only a 1 in 8 chance, it's only 12.5% of the time. But sometimes you're going to flip 1 heads. 100 damage for free energy on a GX attack is not good. In very rare circumstances, 1 in 16, 6.25%, you're actually going to flip 4 tails, and you're going to use a GX attack for 0 damage. And yeah, you can use Victini from Guardians Rising to make sure that it's almost impossible, not quite, but almost impossible to hit 4 tails. Hitting 4 tails and then reflipping and immediately hitting 4 tails is not that likely, though it can happen. And all of a sudden, this is starting to build up here in a way that makes us fairly uncomfortable. We've already said the attack cost isn't great. Are we going to put it on here just for our GX attack that's flippy? And that really is where we are with Thundurus. The weakness isn't the worst thing ever as long as it's a good card. But the fact that Buzzwole can KO you for a single energy and 2 prizes while doing 30 to the bench is bad. The fact that you need free lightning energy to get anything good going here is bad. The fact that you only do 140 when an extra few damage would really make a difference is bad. And now we get to the stage where we got a GX attack, which is flippy, which is bad. I don't like Thundurus GX. I think Thundurus GX is one of the worst GXs we've had so far. I find nothing in it that's particularly comforting. Am I going to use Electrode and Max Elixir just to do 140 damage for free energy? Bearing in mind, if you've got a damage bench Pokemon, Drampa can do that for free energy, but they can use double colorless, and they've got a better first attack, and they've got a really useful GX attack, and they still share the weakness, but I'd pick Drampa over Thundurus any day of the week. and Drampa isn't good enough to be played very much with all of the fighting weakness things going on. I'm going to be giving Thundurus 2 Aussies. I think it's a bad GX. And I love reviewing GX cards, and I love analysing them, and GX cards are big and exciting, and the artwork takes up the card, and this is not a good card, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. But maybe you disagree with me, maybe you think it is a good card, in which case, go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. The world needs people to be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do just that. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.